Welcome to Ghostly Crimes, the channel where history isn't just remembered, it's still breathing. Tonight, we venture to the edge of an ancient forest, where a forgotten town sits cloaked in an eerie, eternal silence. Its streets are lined with decaying houses, each one whispering secrets that have been buried for decades. Among these ruins stands a house that has been the subject of dark rumors for years. Locals avoid it, claiming it is cursed. They say it's haunted by the spirits of those who once lived there, their souls tethered to the rotting timber. But tonight, a group of curious souls has decided to venture into its dark history, seeking the truth. As they stepped onto the creaky porch, a mournful sound sent shivers down their spines. The house felt awake. The door opened with a groan, a heavy invitation into a world where time had long since stopped. The air inside was thick, laden with dust and something else. Something sinister that made their hearts race. They ventured further, the faint glow of their flashlights barely piercing the oppressive, heavy darkness. Each room they entered seemed to hold a piece of the past, as if time had frozen within these very walls. Pictures of long-gone family members hung crookedly, their eyes following the intruders with an unsettling gaze. But it was the attic that drew them in, a place most avoided, even in the house's better days. The door stood ajar. As they ascended, they couldn't shake the feeling that something was watching them from the shadows. The temperature dropped suddenly. Their breaths became visible in the chilling, unnatural air. At the top, the attic stretched out before them, shrouded in shadow and the weight of 1,000 secrets. The only sound was the soft rustle of old furniture, as though the house itself was breathing with them. In the corner, an old rocking chair began to move. Pushed by invisible hands, it rocked faster and faster. They froze. The terror set in as they realized they weren't alone. Something, or someone, was in the house. The question wasn't what was in the house, but why it had waited so long for them to arrive. Some secrets are better left buried. In the dark of 2026, some doors should never be opened. If you value news that respects your intelligence and doesn't hide behind talking points, then stay with us. If you have not subscribed to our channel, please subscribe and press the bell icon. Stay informed, stay sharp. I'll see you in the next one. The chair rocked violently now, its creaking filling the room, reverberating off the walls like a warning. The group stood frozen, each breath more labored than the last, the hairs on the back of their necks standing on end. A shadow darted across the far corner of the attic, just beyond the edge of their flashlight beam. It was fleeting, but unmistakable. The fear was palpable, thick in the air, as if the very house was alive with malevolent energy. One of them, a brave but foolish soul, took a hesitant step forward, his hand reaching for the dusty wooden beam near the chair. His fingers brushed against something cold and smooth, a photograph, half hidden beneath the rocking chair. He pulled it out, his flashlight illuminating the yellowed edges. It was a picture of a family standing proudly in front of the same house they now stood in. But as he stared at it, something didn't sit right. The faces of the family were distorted, their eyes unnaturally wide, mouths twisted into grotesque smiles. It was as if the photo itself had been altered by some unseen force. The sound of footsteps echoed behind them. They whipped around, but no one was there. The attic felt smaller now, suffocating as if the walls were slowly closing in. One of the group, her voice trembling, asked the question that had been lingering in their minds since they first set foot inside. Who lived here? What happened to them? The answer came not in words, but in the sudden slam of a door somewhere downstairs. The group jumped, the blood draining from their faces. They had all heard it. The sound of a door slamming shut as if someone had just entered the house. But they had not heard anyone coming in. Panic set in as they realized they were trapped. The windows, too high to reach, were covered in layers of grime. The only exit was the way they had come. But that door, too, seemed impossibly far now, the house stretching out like a labyrinth. A voice, low and cold, echoed from the darkness at the far end of the attic. Leave now, or stay forever. It wasn't one of them, it wasn't human. Welcome to Ghostly Crimes, the channel where history isn't just remembered, it's still breathing. I'll see you in the next one. Welcome to Ghostly Crimes, the channel where history isn't just remembered, it's still breathing. Tonight, we enter the attic of a house that doesn't just hold memories, it claims them. The voice was like ice crawling under their skin, its tone sending chills through every one of them. They all turned, their eyes wide, searching desperately for the source, but the attic was still. The shadows in the corners seemed to grow longer, stretching as if they were alive, feeding off the fear that pulsed in the room. The air grew thick, the weight of it pressing down on their chests. They tried to move, but their legs felt heavy, as if the very house had rooted them in place. Then a soft, almost imperceptible whisper came again. This time it was louder, closer. "Leave, now, before it's too late." One of the group, a woman named Sarah, reached out in a panic, grabbing the arm of her friend Mark. "We have to go. We have to get out of here," she urged. But Mark, transfixed by something in the far corner of the attic, didn't answer. His eyes were locked on a large, ornate mirror that stood at the end of the room. The mirror's surface was clouded with age. The reflection in the glass was strange, distorted, as though it wasn't showing the room as it was. As they watched, the reflection began to shift. The mirror that had once shown nothing but darkness now flickered, showing glimpses of something or someone. A pale, twisted figure appeared, standing just behind them in the reflection, its eyes hollow and black, its mouth curled into a sinister grin. Sarah's breath caught in her throat as she realized the figure wasn't just in the mirror, it was right behind them. The line between the glass and reality had vanished. The group spins around in horror, but the corner of the attic was empty. Mark's voice broke the silence, but it was a whisper, trembling. "It's too late. We've already been marked." Suddenly, the air seemed to tremble with a low hum, a frequency that felt like it was tearing at their minds. The rocking chair, now at a maddening pace, began to shake violently, the floorboards under their feet groaning as if something was stirring beneath them. One of the group, Tom, stepped forward, panic overtaking him. "We need to leave, now!" he screamed, but his voice was swallowed by the house. But it was too late. The door that had once been open now slammed shut with a deafening crack, sealing them in. The escape was gone. The whispers grew louder, no longer just one voice, but many, echoing from the walls, the floor, the ceiling, surrounding them, suffocating them. Each whisper was a plea, a scream, a warning. "You will never leave. This house is ours." They were no longer guests, they were prey. From the darkness, a cold hand brushed against Sarah's neck, its fingers icy and unyielding. She screamed, jerking away, but it held tight. It wasn't human. She could feel it, the unnaturalness of the touch. Her eyes darted around, but there was no escape. They were locked in place. The door, the stairs, the windows, they were all locked in place by an invisible force. The house had become their coffin. The figure in the mirror was moving now, closer, its twisted grin widening as if it were feeding on their terror. It savored every drop of their fear. "You will join us," the voice hissed, the words almost a chant. And that's when they realized the horrifying truth. The house had never been abandoned. It was waiting for them, for their fear, and they had just become part of its endless collection, another soul for the attic. If you value news that respects your intelligence and doesn't hide behind talking points, then stay with us, because some stories are better left untold. Subscribe and hit that bell icon. Drop your questions in the comments. I'll see you in the next one. Stay informed, stay sharp. Welcome to Ghostly Crimes. Tonight's story is not breaking news, it's breaking reality. A house that breathes, a mirror that watches, and a shadow that waits. The room seemed to close in on them as the whispers grew louder, overlapping each other until they were deafening. The air was thick with an oppressive energy. The temperature plummeted further, each breath now visible as a cloud in the freezing air. It felt as if the walls themselves were alive. The once sturdy floor beneath their feet felt as if it were shifting, unstable, as if the house itself was shifting its weight in anticipation. Sarah's heart pounded in her chest as she tried to pull away from the icy hand still gripping her neck. She looked around desperately, her mind racing for a way out, but there was no escape. The mirror, once just an eerie reflection, now pulsed with an unnatural light as though it were a portal. A world filled with eyes, hollow and dark, watching them. And then she saw it. The shadow in the mirror began to take shape. It was tall, impossibly thin, its limbs unnaturally long and stretching as if they were made of liquid. Its skin was ashen, its face a mask of malice. Its limbs were stretching as if they were made of liquid. Its eyes were wide, black pits, and its mouth was filled with sharp, jagged teeth. The figure wasn't just standing there anymore. It was moving toward them, reaching out of the mirror, pulling itself free from the glass. Its form warped with every movement. Sarah screamed, her voice trembling with terror, but no sound came out. The house had swallowed her words. The others too were frozen, their eyes wide with fear, unable to move, unable to speak. The thing in the mirror grew closer. Its grotesque form was now looming just behind them, as if it had always been there, waiting, watching, feeding on their dread. Suddenly, the floor beneath their feet cracked with a violent roar. The house was alive, shuddering, breathing, as if it had awoken. The shadows in the corners twisted and writhed, taking on forms of their own. The house had been hungry for them all along. The mirror shattered, its shards flying across the room like jagged daggers. In the center of the attic, the figure stood, fully formed. Its grin widened as it extended its long, bony hand toward Sarah. "You are ours," it whispered, its voice 1,000 voices. "Join us in the eternal darkness." With that, the world around them began to distort. The walls melted, the floor crumbled away. The air grew thick with an unbearable pressure. Time itself seemed to bend, as if the very fabric of reality was being torn apart. And as Sarah reached out in a final desperate attempt to escape, everything went black. The house, now empty, fell silent once more. Some stories are best left in the shadows, but on Ghostly Crimes, we dismantle the headlines until the truth remains. Subscribe and hit the bell icon so you won't miss an update. Stay informed, stay sharp. I'll see you in the next one, because conversation matters.